Excuse me. This scene is for 2 actors. Can we team up?
Which part are you reading for?
Patrick?
No, that's my part. You're going to have to do the other character.
Yeah, him, Nick. Okay.
Hi, my name is Mugambi Nthiga, and this is my come-up story. I'm glad we're having this conversation. I've been cooped up in my house for so long. I'm actor, writer, director, and I work both on screen and on stage.
Yes.
However, I consider myself a storyteller.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
So I work whatever medium that presents itself that can have a story told.
Yeah.
I like to work in that.
Okay.
Yeah. Coming off of Nairobi Half Life, which is where my film career started, over the next year and a half, after Nairobi Half Life came out, not after we shot it, it came out, of all the auditions I attended, I netted my success rate was exactly 0%. Yeah, I didn't get a single role I auditioned for after Nairobi Half Life. I still don't know why, but that's how the industry goes. That's how it is. Yeah.
So the resilience, when you see people don't usually see the full journey, they just see certain destinations. It's important context to have that.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
So my view of myself in the past 5 months that this pandemic has been around is that I am very human, and I have learned that I don't always have to be moving around and doing stuff to be useful. Good question. If I wasn't an artist, I would very likely, I would probably still be involved in creativity. The other thing I used to do before I got into the arts full time was advertising. And I got into advertising simply because I could see at least what the industry was like then. Advertising really tried to borrow a lot from art and got inspired by art. In fact, there was a point where advertising was actually leading the way in art. It was actually able to build up a lot of small-time artists that people didn't know about. Advertising brought them to the mainstream, whether it was via endorsements, whether it was having their work put into ads. So if I was not an artist, I think I would be a teacher. I think I'd be teaching. But my biggest support family, without a doubt, has been my family. I'm not saying it's been a smooth journey because they were the first people I had to enlist into this crazy vision I had for my life, where artistry, film, stage would be my bread and butter. So getting them on was tough, but once particularly my parents and I, and my siblings and I were on the same page, they have come to form something of a really tolerant and understanding support system. This is not to say that I reach out to them every time something is going crazy, but they're always holding space. Any artist will tell you it's not the amount of... You could hang out with someone 100 times, but if they're not holding out space for you to be who you are, and you're not doing the same for them, then you're just hanging out. There's nothing really bigger that's happening than that. And it will manifest in the conversations you're having, the activities you decide to get involved in, what you consider a good time, that sort of thing. But when it comes to my family, they really hold space. For instance, my siblings, I'm the eldest, and the eldest sibling is the one who's supposed to be literally leading the way. But by quitting my full-time job, they're in full-time employment. They're still in full-time employment now. Every so often, they're willing to chip in financially for me, which is not easy. It's not easy to accept charity from your younger siblings who you're supposed to be leading the way for, and who at some point you have been supporting as well. So now it's going the other way around. But the mere fact that they're enabling me to get a few bills paid, just so that I can stay sane and so that I can continue working. Or the fact that I'll have a conversation with my folks and the same, they're still African parents. They still wonder where the money is coming from. They still wonder how the rent is getting paid. They still wonder how long this is going to last. To some extent, the fact that the world has gone awry and has been turned upside down is a good thing for me, because I'm like, if I was still full-time employed, I'd still be as affected as the next person. So that helps. Another, and I can't overstate this enough. Another support system, particularly in Nairobi, is other artists. And I'm not talking about other artists doing the same thing I'm doing. If I attend a blanket ceremony, for instance, I do not do the fraternizing, socializing thing. It's a good thing. You're there to do that. But I go right to the front and just absorb everything I can from the artists on stage, because it feels like when people put their art out there, it's not just building the consumers, it's not building the audiences, it's building the other artists as well, because they keep pointing the way to us as to what's possible. The proudest one, without a doubt, was directing and staging Too Early for Birds, Boya edition, which I got involved in, which we rehearsed for, and which we put up on stage, combined in about a matter of a month to 5 weeks. There's something that I would have told my younger self starting out. I would keep reminding that young dude that, above all, what you're doing is important. It's just not important in the way that you expect. Let go of the idea that you have, be a little bit flexible with that, and you realize that your art is going to reward you in ways that you don't expect or anticipate. And this is not advice to any just artists. This is to anyone who's actually putting their hand to something that is going to cause a difference. When you decide you're going to show up for the world will really show up for you in unexpected ways.
Amazing.
Yeah. The biggest challenge is that it's not about the work. I'll pick film for instance. The subject of film in Kenya is not about filmmaking. It's about business of filmmaking. It's about the people behind the filmmaking. It's about the incentives around filmmaking or the incentives that are lacking. It's always a conversation about what we have or what we don't have, or what we've done or what we're not doing. Filmmakers are going through the most right now because it was already difficult for us to have our work put out there and get appreciated in the same spirit that it was put out there. If you'd asked me this question even a month ago, I would have told you it's about support. We don't have the governmental support. We don't have the audience support. We don't even have the peer support between ourselves. Going forward in the future, the sort of arts industry that I look forward to being a part of, it sounds crazy. I wish everyone was an artist. Art and philosophy and all those other things that we celebrate about being human to take precedence over commerce and race and profit and loss and stocks and technology. All important things. Our eyes have been opened to the stuff that's really important. And suddenly everyone is going back to this very basic, ideal kind of life that tells us that the stuff that we thought was important is not. And the stuff that we have long considered to not be important, we're paying for that now. My parting shot would be to those creatives on the come up, all those artists who are on their come up journey. Please trust your journey, trust the process, trust it, regardless. It doesn't matter how the world looks, as long as the sun is rising and setting, as long as you can look outside and see some natural order going on, not artificial. As long as the birds are still flying, as long as plants are still sprouting, that very same energy that keeps them moving, the same energy that keeps the universe going, is the same energy that will keep your journey going. Trust the process above all.
That's great.
Above all, success for me is not how I win, it's how we all win.